The adults were intently listening to the various dignitaries while the kids were frolicking around on the playscapes and weren't interrupted at all. So I think a wildly successful outcome. So thank you to everyone that participated and contributed to the wonderful outcome. And that thank you goes out from the council here at the Village of Lions Bay. So thank you very much. Okay, with that, I'll call the meeting to order, the adoption of the agenda. I know we have one item from our committee of the whole, and that was the addition of the youth award. So we'll put that on the agenda. Mr. Blackwell, would you suggest that go?
They suggest you
New business number 12.
put it there or under looking for the council response.
There are council 8.3.
Favorite committees. I don't see it.
Mayor and council.
8.3.1, 4.3,
Yes.
right above the Bears Farm report. Okay. Any other amendments to the agenda?
Yeah, I've had one.
Okay,
I'd like to ask for a motion of reconsideration on item 8.1.3 from the June 16th meeting. This was in reference to the porta potties at the village entrance.
Where would we propose that be?
I don't know, where do we normally do a reconsideration as matters arising from the minutes?
would that be
Rising sort of.
Mr. Blackwell under staff or minutes arising?
Minutes up front business.
Business arising. Unfinished business arising, okay. Okay, any other amendments, changes? No, okay, all in favor?
Sorry, if I may have a mover and seconder.
We have a mover, moved by Councillor Abbott, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll move to public participation. Anyone in the gallery wish to speak?
Are we gonna have a time to, is this the only time to speak?
We have public participation at the beginning, 2 minutes, times five people. You can speak now, or you can speak at the end of the meeting as well. There'll be a 2-minute period.
Just one quick question.
If you can please take the podium and give your name and.
Just purely for the matter of record, Michael Goldstein, 252 Stewart. I'm aware that there's a document signed by 66 community residents to reconsider the Rundle Creek zoning, hold that off. I just want to ask a question to the committee here. Is there anyone that did not read that document? Please raise your hand. It's on the record, everybody read it. Okay.
Good, thank you. Anyone else in the gallery?
For a quick question. I live on Kelvin Grove. And we have had 2 houses under construction. I wish I brought up the number. I didn't realize I was gonna speak. And we have had a house since COVID that has not been finished. And I have asked repeatedly, I've stopped in at the village hall to see what I could do about that. It's an eyesore. Every time I come up, I get upset. There are boards and with exposed nails on it. There's litter. People just keep throwing onto it. And I've asked, I just wondered what what can be done about that? And what the bylaws are for that. And I understand the person has run out of money, but I don't think that's our problem. I think that something needs to be done about the property. And because it continues to be an eyesore. everybody just keeps throwing litter. I pick the litter up, I pick litter up all over the village, and I'm really tired of it, and I just would appreciate an answer. Right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Blackwell, can you comment on that, or would you like to get back to that?
Well, I can a little bit, but yeah, my recommendation is to reach out to the office. So this is on staff radar. As far as I understand it, but unless I've got the wrong house. So with regard to the concerns about litter, much of the litter is caused by folks in the community. It's being captured on, apparently, I have no knowledge, this is what I'm hearing. It's caught on video or surveillance cameras. And with regard to the project continuing, it is continuing, if it's the same one. The work is primarily internal. But again, this is really not a council matter. This is really an operational question.
Okay, Councillor Out, get your hand up.
Yeah, not the same one.
Okay.
The one you're referring to is Mountain Drive, 250, whatever it is, Mountain Drive. That's the one that's been going for decades. I think what Tracy's brought up is in Kelvin Grove, on the side of the village, different issue, same methodology to resolve potentially or not, but it's a different one.
Okay, hopefully that answered your question. I think, visiting the office.
The sound is really bad back here. If you would make an effort when addressing our questions to turn towards here so we can hear, the sound does not carry us.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. Okay, anyone online or anyone further in the gallery?
Yeah, I'd like to speak.
Okay, just one moment. We have someone in the gallery.
The person.
Okay, online.
Sure. Can I go ahead now?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Reuter.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good evening, all. Marcus Reuter here. First, a bit of housekeeping. An obsolete OCP reference about densification has still not been corrected in the Q&A published by staff after the hearing, and it's again been included in the record of the public hearing. I think it's really important that these kind of errors not remain on the public record, and I'd request that this be rectified as council had previously directed. Second, and importantly, to the zoning bylaw change before you. You have conducted a public hearing on this matter, and your constituents have spoken clearly and unequivocally. They are overwhelmingly against it and have reasonably requested that this form part of a more comprehensive conversation during the impending OCP revisitation. You all heard your friend and neighbor, Deirdre Bain, read out a letter signed by 63 residents, all opposed to this change. And if you include all those who've spoken and written, you've heard from about 80 people, all of whom, but for one, are opposed. Simply put, you've received a mandate at over 98%. You could not have asked for a clear answer on your constituents' intent. I therefore urge you to reflect the will of your community and bring this to an end tonight. In the aftermath of the Botany landslide, the need for careful consideration of how development occurs, especially in hazardous areas, is more important than ever. I urge you to let those conversations happen more comprehensively and thoughtfully during an OCP revisitation. Thank you very much.
Okay, in the gallery, would you like to take the podium? Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just curious about whether that, I'd heard that petition had been not allowed because our addresses were not on there. Was that true? Why was that petition not allowed? Or am I incorrect in what I've heard?
Mr. Blackwell, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a convoluted answer, but the Local Government Act specifies that those people that feel that their interests are affected are the ones that get to speak. So it doesn't mean the whole world gets to speak. Doesn't mean people from West Bend or Squamish or whatever get to speak on the issue unless they own land here. So part of the obligation with regard to public hearings specifically, which is a different threshold than sort of just normal communications, is that we have to provide that verification. So when the municipality receives a letter with signatures on it, we have no idea whether those people legitimately signed that or somebody else signed it. We don't know. We can't guarantee that all the folks on that live in Lions Bay or have a property in Lions Bay, and we can't verify what they understand about what was on in any given letter, et cetera. So municipalities don't accept that sort of information. They have to verify. So you see the person come and speak, they say their name and address. Now we know that it's fulfilling the obligations pursuant to the Local Government Act.
So these people that signed it, the town does not have their addresses on the record, they're all taxpayers. I would presume that they would be on the record in the town. And could a request have been put out when it was learned that the petition didn't have addresses, that it needed signatures? That seems to be a good thing on the part of this council. Or, I mean, many of you know a lot of people on the petition. I have to assume that. And so I just left, just telling you how one citizen of this village is left. I am left feeling like you don't really care. That you, who we have hired, you who we have voted in, don't really care. You'll get us on a technicality, and I understand what you say. And in a larger municipality, I could understand that. I could say, okay, good. But in a little village like Lions Bay, I find that very hard to stomach. These are people who care about, I might not live in Calvin Grove, but I care about Lions Bay and what happens here. That's why I'm dumping most of my life savings into the house that I'm living in right now. And so just to give you fair feedback, I feel ill-used by this current council, by you, my mayor, by you, Mr. Rockwell. And as I was told last time I was here, when I queried about if the clear cutting close to that river, that creek was legal, and I was told, oh, it's not in our bylaw. Well, murder isn't in our bylaw either. But we don't let that happen. It's a
Okay.
provincial law.
I thank you very much for voicing your opinions, okay? Our CAO has outlined some of the regulations. There is some governance that has to apply. None of us are trying to be malicious in any way.
No.
So I just want you to know that. Okay, Mr. Blackwell, anything further you'd like to add?
Well, only because I'm being impugned in this sort of way. You're not being ill-used, whether it's a small community like Lions Bay or a city of Burnaby. The Local Government Act dictates we don't get a special dispensation because we have a smaller population. The law is the law, and we follow it regardless of our size. So this is the obligation. I don't know. I have no proof who signed that. I may know the names on there, but I don't know who put the names on there. So this is a standard practice. It's not specific to Lions Bay, it's a standard practice. And what might have been good is for the letter writer to have reached out to staff and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Will this work? But
The staff might have gotten back to the letter writer and said a petition to be.
Okay, I'm going to take Councillor Abbott's hand up, and then we've gone past our 2 minutes, okay?
That's okay.
So Councillor Abbott,
If I may,
yes,
have your name for
Larissa Goldstein, 252 Store Road.
okay, Councillor Abbott,
I just want to pass comment and maybe we can just put this one to rest. Someone asked us earlier, had any of us not seen that letter and no one put up their hands? We cannot unsee what we've already seen. I think this discussion on this technicality is probably not warranted and we should move on. I also would like to point out that this has happened many times in the past, and these residents would not have known that it was going to be different this time. Signing of a letter by multiple people, it's not a petition, it's a letter signed by multiple people, has come to this council on many occasions. So I think we all know it, we've all seen it, so let's just move on and get to the item on the agenda later.
Okay, I'll also comment that we had a provincial advisor here for 5 months at the beginning of this council's term. They put forward best practices, and I can tell you that council has not adopted all those best practices. They've resisted. So the next time at the ballot box, I think everyone should look at the resolutions that were either passed or not passed and make decisions. Because best
Point
practices
of order,
have not
please.
been implemented.
Point of order.
Yeah, Councillor Allen.
This is not on the agenda. I don't know what you're discussing something completely.
I'm commenting on
Point
how
of
council,
order.
I'm commenting on how council, just as you finished off and you tried to make a final comment.
I was
and then
talking to the matter on the agenda, brought up by the resident. You're not.
I am, because
just
these are
moved the
bylaws that have not been updated. Provincial advisor said our bylaws are
You're doing
20
an election
years
speech.
behind.
Stop speaking. You're
They-
out
they-
of order.
It's about bylaws. Okay? If you like, you've already spoken once,
I don't
but
know what the rules are on that. It's, is that my only, can I speak, yeah or no?
they're generally once and then again at the end, so
Okay, I'll go with.
thank you. Anyone online?
Yes, Tamara Leger.
Okay, Tamara?
Hi, I am going to speak up as well about not being heard at the hearing. I got up in person. I was acknowledged by you, the chair, and you all know me. In fact, I've lived in the community since 1999, and this council term, the House Concert Series I've run for over 10 years, received a community grant. So I'm known in the community. I was given the floor. My statement was edited by interruption while I was reading into account my statement from the floor during a hearing. I'd also like to say that then I've been deleted. Not only was I interrupted while giving my statement during the hearing, so I wasn't heard during a public hearing, my statement that I was trying to read in was then deleted and not included in the agenda package. So I am a known person. I am known by your office. I am known by all of you. I was verbally greeted by the chair and handed the floor and interrupted. And I just, per the rules that were set out in the hearing in advance of the special hearing via email from the office, by the CAO, at no point in that email was a physical civic address required as part of the public record. You had to be known, they had to be verified. But aside from that, to be published as part of the public record, that was not part of the rules. And you have to publish the rules. It is my understanding you have to publish the rules of the hearing prior to the hearing and not just change them on the spot on the day of. And that was not followed. And you can't just discount people because you don't like what they say. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or residents wishing to speak?
No.
No? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the approval of the June 2nd, 2026 minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, seconded. Do we have a seconder? Councilor Abbott, any amendments, changes?
None from me.
No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, motion to approve the June 16th, 2026 minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, seconded by Councilor Abbott. Any amendments, changes?
On one, page 13, page 30 of the agenda, that is, item 8211. The fourth paragraph down, there's a note that with an asterisk that says motion was not seconded. I originally thought that referred to the motion that follows, but if it isn't, I went and listened to the agenda. What happened was Councillor Cunliffe put something forward. There was initially no second, and then Councillor Broughton seconded it, and then Councillor Cunliffe actually withdrew it. So there never was a motion. So I think we should either just strike that or point out there was a motion submitted and withdrawn. I don't know.
Crystal, do
If
you
I
want
may,
to review that?
I did watch it several times. I know what you're referring to,
Okay.
but that was separate. The motion, I believe you're the one that put it forward. It was, I don't have it right in front of me, but the result was captured correctly, but it was not seconded. And that's why I put that little note there.
Okay,
Okay, what do you suggest? We just leave it as is, recorded?
Yeah, if the.
Question
sorry,
on the
if I may,
agenda?
The result was not ambiguous, but it was technically not
Okay.
seconded.
All in favor of the minutes?
Right.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, motion to approve the June 26, 2026 minutes. Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, seconded by
so again,
Councilor Abbott. Any amendments, changes?
No.
No, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. New business arising, porta potties, I think was on the list.
yeah, so I've got two other items, matters arising from the actual minutes that I want to bring up. What do you want to do first? Do you want to do the reconsideration first?
Let's do the reconsideration, then you can put the other two on the table.
Okay, so it's item 813.
Page 7.
That's page 13 of our agenda package.
Okay.
So I'll just remind everyone, this is about the works at the village entrance, creating a level spot for porta potties. And I asked in the meeting if there was two separate items here, one civil work creating the level spot. And the second one was whether we want to put porta potties. The meeting was concerned there was one motion, they were both tied together. That motion then passed. We have now done civil work, so I can't see how we can actually pass a motion to prevent something that's already done, so that's awkward. But I do want to put forward a reconsideration of the porta potties, and I'd like to speak to that. I'm just not sure how we do it, what the technicality is. What do I put forward? I'm going to give you some advice from the CIO corporate office. How we do this.
What are the regulations? We need to, counselor that moved the motion. That's for reconsideration, is it?
If I may interject,
The corporate office is good.
Mr. Blackwell,
Okay,
on this one.
Mr. Blackwell.
That'd be correct. Somebody spoke in favor, but the only caveat technically is unless the matter has been actioned, then it cannot be reconsidered, which this has been. However, I still think regardless of that technicality,
Part of it's been action, and that's my point.
well, our porta potties in there as well, but nonetheless, porta potties are such a minor sort of thing that even though it's sort of coloring outside of the lines, it might make sense for a council conversation around this anyway.
How about we have a conversation?
Technical answer, one is,
It sounds like the earthworks have already occurred, porta potties are there, they can be moved. Why don't we have
They're
a
not there.
conversation?
They're pending.
They're pending.
They're not there.
Okay, why don't we have a conversation, then you can, we can all make a decision, you can make a decision if you want to follow through with the reconsideration. What were your thoughts?
Okay, so my thoughts are we're spending a lot of money upgrading the village entrance. The second thing you're going to see are porta potties. I don't believe it's in keeping with what we're trying to, the aesthetics of the rest of the village and what we're trying to do. We have a new beach park washroom at a considerable expense, grant and taxpayer. It's what, I don't know, 45 seconds down the road if you're driving, slightly further if you're walking, from when you come into the village. I think a nice sign that's obviously going to have to be large enough to catch people's attention that says public washrooms are down the hill would be a much better way to go. And that's my primary suggestion. If we do need to put toilets up here, and I don't see why, I think there might be other options to porta potties at the village entrance. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, any other comments, councillors? Councillor Barton?
Well, I think we're being opportunistic on the fact that there was some work being done there. And the recommendation was brought forward. I certainly support the concern of it being, the second thing that you see as you enter the village, as we're, looking at upgrading the village sign and so on. I think we definitely need to, I think it's a good point that we now have the beach park available. How the parking would work down there for them to use that washroom, I think is another issue. But I certainly think it's worthy of reconsideration. I think there's some new information. I think the porta potties could be positioned somewhere else or canceled or postponed or something until another decision was made. But definitely, we need to have people from the highway have access to washrooms. Otherwise, we end up with unfortunate circumstances on the sides of the road and behind things and so on. So,
Yeah, our operations, it's too bad Eric's not here this evening to give us some feedback. Mr. Blackwell can give us some feedback, but personally, I don't like the looks of porta potties. But I think they'd have to have, my feeling is have staff take it away, come back to us. They'd rather have something that was a little more attractive, but I'm not sure that the answer is directing down the hill. Just the logistics of finding parking and then working your way to those washrooms. I think you're gonna have other unfortunate situations. Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you very much, Mayor Perry. I think too, if we're being realistic, the reality is there's a considerable need. And we're not thinking about that. And the beach park is pretty full most of the time. Visitors don't know really what they're doing half the time at best. Going up to the trailheads is too far. Perhaps additional foliage might assist the situation. The reality is that we can take the porta potties away for 6 months of the year too.
Why?
Okay,
Sorry,
Mr.
why
Blackwell.
would we take them away?
Because the hiking's not an issue and
It's not just.
Okay, we're gonna go to Mr. Blackwell. We got his hand up. Mr. Blackwell.
Just a little bit more information for council. I think what I hear are concerns, I totally get. If it's sort of the question of aesthetics, there's the opportunity to provide screening in front of the door so it's a little less visible. But it is, to Councillor McLaughlin's point, it is, and your point, it is an issue. Just yesterday, we had a woman pull over just out of the parking here, decide to relieve herself between two parked cars and went all the way down the hill. So this happens frequently, and whether we like it or not, it's happening. So this is sort of to address this issue. We regularly have people come to the front counter to use our washrooms, which we can't prevent. The store doesn't allow it, so it leads to very dire circumstances, as it seems. People don't pre-plan, it would seem.
Councillor Abbott, then Councillor Brown.
And if I may,
Councillor Cunliffe, go ahead. Sorry, the screen's off on this end. Councillor Cunliffe.
pardon me,
Go.
sorry. I don't think I heard that.
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Cunliffe.
Well, just to the point the CAO made about the store not providing washrooms, but the cafe under Vancouver Coastal Health with more than 10 seats technically does need to require washrooms. So that could be a conversation that might need to be had with the business owner, because from what I can see, they're in non-compliance. And if we're providing porta potties for cafe users, there's a bigger issue at hand there.
Okay, Councillor Abbott.
I'm not sure that signage doesn't resolve the issue. I understand the beach park can be busy on warm sunny weekends. That's not when this happens. It happens during the week, it happens all the time. We have the Kelvin Grove washrooms as well. When people have driven and they get to Lions Bay and realize, oops, I need to go and this is my only stop for the next 60 Ks. But if we direct them to the appropriate places where there are washrooms, I think that can mitigate the risk. I think people that are forced to relieve themselves is because they don't know if there's any other option. There was some signage, hey, when you come into the village that says, washrooms at Kelvin Grove on the highway, another sign that says washrooms here down at Lions Bay or Kelvin Grove. And it's people traveling by. It's not people that are hikers or people that are coming necessarily only on a warm sunny day when the beach is full. So I really think signage, we should attempt to fix this with signage.
I think Councillor McLaughlin brought up a good point. This will be usually a 6-month affair. Mr. Blackwell mentioned there could be partitions put up. Eric, our operations manager, is out of town right now on holidays, but I'd be in favor of tabling this and having Eric come back and give us a few alternatives. Because I'm not so sure that removing them and directing them down to the beach park, which is going to be a little bit more complicated than somebody is looking to relieve himself immediately, like they did between parked cars. So I would be in favor of revisiting this, but maybe when Eric is back in town, Councillor Abbott, if you'd consider that.
I'd go with deferring it to.
Yeah, we can revisit it that time. I'm good with that. And yeah, I had someone relieve themselves on the bottom of my driveway today, so I do know what it's like. And he's with signage and porta potties available on the track. Yeah, probably Tesla got out and decided this is where it had to happen. Anyway,
Okay.
so I know what it's like.
Okay, we'll table this. Councillor Abbott, you had a couple other items.
Sorry, motion to table?
Motion to table.
So moved.
Okay, second. Okay,
Um,
Councillor McLaughlin, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
do we need to rescind the other?
No, we just won't do anything more on it. Council may choose to not rescind.
Okay, but we're not gonna take any further steps till it comes back to council.
As soon as I can communicate that to Mr. Milner,
It won't be clear just to rescind it.
well, it will have no further effect than me sort of reaching out to them. If they're ordered, they're coming regardless of whether council rescinds it or not.
Okay, we'll move on. Councillor Abbott. You had a couple other
I have
items.
two other items, from the June 2nd, meeting. There was a question about, two questions about from the, CRD, from the Climate Action Committee reports. One related to pink bins and the other one related to, it was item 10.2.1.1.1. I'll deal with that one first. We have an RFP going out, currently for waste collection. One of the service providers that will be bidding is our current provider who does provide pink bins in West Vancouver. I think it would be a simple optional item to add to the bottom of that RFP as an addendum to get a budget pricing on pink bins, so we can go back to residents with an informed decision as to whether we're going to move ahead with that or not, because it's been a resident request. So I'd like to, maybe I should just put that forward as a motion. That we add a optional item to the RFP and as an addendum to the RFP that's going out, to include pink bins.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell.
Thank you. You can, council can certainly formalize it that way, that's totally fine. But for background, I know this is on Mr. Villeneuve's radar already, pink bins, but I can't speak to what he's doing about it. My sense in my conversation is that he's doing something, I just don't recall what it is. So either way, I'll have that conversation with him. Or it can be, or it can be supported with the council resolution, but either way, I'll be having that conversation.
Okay, Councillor Abbott.
It's up to you.
Any preference?
Is this item not, it's in our action log, isn't
If I may, yes, it's on the action log.
it? Yeah, so I think it can be,
Okay.
we can discuss it at that time.
Councillor Abbott, it's on the
Updated
action
or whatever.
log. Is that good enough for you?
Okay, the other one, I'm pretty sure is not on the actual log. And that was the metal recycling issue. We could add that to the action log. I'd like just to see progress made on
Is
that.
that on the action? So, sorry, this point of information, I just want to take a little bit of time to save some time. Eric,
When we get to the action log, we can
Yeah.
either add it then.
yeah, okay,
If that's
Alright.
acceptable. All right,
good, okay.
Okay, any other items?
no,
No, okay, we'll move to unfinished business, 7.1, proposed zoning bylaw amendments, RS1 zone. The motion is that the third reading be granted to zoning and development bylaw number 520. 2017 amendment bylaw 663, 2026. Is there a motion? Right,
So
okay, moved by Councilor Broughton, we have a second, by Councilor McLaughlin, comments, discussion. 7.1, page 21 of your agenda.
did I ask you exactly what the motion is we voting on?
third reading.
Third reading.
Third reading.
Mayor Barron,
Okay, all in favor? Oh,
if I may speak.
yeah, sorry, I'm following the question.
Thank you very much. I believe the community has spoken on this topic. And this is based on recent events to do with the subdivision, surveys that address density and development, and an OCP fed by a desire of increasing housing. I believe the community would prefer that the zoning bylaw amendment be paused at this time to be brought back after delivery of the OCP. I'd put that forward as an alternate motion.
Okay. Do we have a second for that?
Second,
Okay, second by Councilor Cunliffe, discussion, Councilor Broughton, you had your hand up?
The changing of a bylaw and the public hearing process is a profoundly formal process. And, there's Lions Bay is typically is a very informal community, and where we listen to one another, we try to meet each other's needs, we try to work together. I think we need to be very cautious about getting too informal. We have a situation where we have letters that have come on this matter that have been signed by people's first names. There have been letters brought to council, and statements made in that letter. When I reviewed the letter that was brought to council, or that was shared with council, there were a whole series of comments, and a number of them related to false information that was provided on a secret website, or a website that no one appears to be taking responsibility for. And suddenly this information on a site which is registered out of the country is being quoted by different individuals, and that really concerned me. I heard, serious concerns from a broad spectrum of people, but the major concern that I had is the changes in the bylaw, as I understand it, are to make the bylaw enforceable. Currently, the bylaw is fuzzy enough, and it's old enough, and it's problematic that we can end up in yet more legal expenses if someone chooses to challenge our bylaw. There are a long list of reasons why development cannot go forward, including safety and environmental concerns and everything else. And that has not been understood by the community. And I'm very concerned that decisions are being made on the basis of inaccurate information. However, that being said, there is the community does not clearly understand the purpose of the bylaw change, as I believe I understand it. And that being the case, I would support pausing the implementation of the bylaw and asking that the CAO answer some of the questions that have been put forward again, if as needed, and also address some of the false information that has been put out there. Because once that false information is out there, it becomes fact, which will be quoted in the future, and that will not serve the community. So we had a provincial advisor who identified that our bylaws are woefully out of date. The CAO has been charged with updating our bylaws. Each time he brings a bylaw forward to be updated, it's questioned, why are you doing that, et cetera. And I don't think that's helpful to the community. There's been a whole bunch of issues that have been meshed in this particular bylaw change. The bylaw has nothing to do with tree clearing, has nothing to do with the other issues, and all of which are very serious issues, and all of which should be very addressed. I'm very concerned that we proceed with the development zones to accurately identify the risks of any kind of change in any of the areas in the community. And I think that we need to focus our attention on doing that. And the actual change recommended in this bylaw change, I believe, actually makes the community less at risk of legal challenge. In fact, strengthens the ability of the community to address the issues that we're concerned about. And I'm just very disappointed that there's been so much inaccurate, inflammatory, and disturbing information that's been put out there. And I'm just hoping that we can move forward based on accurate, ethical, appropriate information.
Can I clarify?
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
So just to clarify for council, the key issue with these bylaw provisions or amendments as proposed is because right now they are not legal, they are illegal, they are ultra vires, they are beyond the legal authority. And so that exposes the municipality. So council's decision is to either accept that you're sitting on legal liability and play Russian roulette with that and hope that nobody chooses to address it, because it'll be a pretty slam dunk case in my mind. Or the alternative is change it so that you're at least legally compliant, so the bylaw is legitimate. So that's the purpose of these provisions. It's not because they're old or any of the other sort of concerns. It's because they are not legal.
Okay, Councillor Abbott.
I think we've heard all this before. The bylaw has been incomplete like this for a long time. We're about to fix it and fix it properly. We're talking about DPAs again. All of the stuff needs to happen in the OCP. We can't just remove the CACs because they're not working and they're not supposed to be there anymore. We need to address the thing properly. We're going about it in the proper way. We just keep going around the same things. We don't need to have the CEO's opinion again. He's written to us several times. He's presented it again tonight. We've heard from residents. I think we should call the question. I'm just not sure whether it's the revised question or the original question. Please call the question.
Okay, I'd like to comment before we call a question.
I'll comment as well, please.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin,
Thank
and
you
we'll go
very
to Councillor Conlon.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just to be clear, there are the two motions, which is the third reading be granted to zoning bylaw, development bylaw 52/2017, or which was seconded and then graciously allowed me to continue. And the second amendment is the zoning bylaw amendment be paused at this time to be brought back after delivery of the OCB. There's no mention of referring it back to the CAO, and there's no mention of dissemination of information. Those are the two choices.
Okay, Councillor Cunliffe?
Yeah, my only comment is that this bylaw has sat for years and years and a few more months while we go through the OCP review to satisfy the residents, of which we count the petition of, from my tallying, it was 60 plus, including the resident correspondence and those that spoke. We had a 13 to 1 person, or we had a 74 to 1 person. So the math just doesn't equate that the residents want to move ahead with this. It's been years, a matter of months is not going to make any significant outcome. And so therefore, I won't be voting in favor of third reading.
Okay,
Just clarify.
Mr. Blackwell?
Thank you. Just for, again, clarification for to Councillor Conley's comments. To be clear, the OCP will have no effect. Okay, no effect on these provisions in the zoning bylaw. They are not related. So you can wait until you adopt them.
Sorry, through the chair. Ross, you've debated this over and over, and you're debating every council member again. We've heard all of this before.
Okay.
Respectfully, I think it's time to call a question.
Councillor Abbott, we're going back to Mr. Blackwell, and then I'm going to comment, okay? Mr. Blackwell?
I was just trying to explain that, if what I'm hearing from council is you are choosing to wait for the OCP adoption to rectify a legal provision in your zoning bylaw. They will not do that. They're not related. And so you will be, if that's the premise you're operating on, then it's an incorrect one. It's my responsibility to protect the organization. And my job is to bring this information forward for your consideration. If you choose to ignore it, then at least I've done my job.
Okay, Councillor Crosby, I'm gonna comment.
After we have voted, I will have a further motion regarding information to the community.
Okay. Look, this seems to be, we're repeating the same premise. Provincial advisors have recommended that we move forward on upgrading our bylaws. We're almost 4 years into this term. So our corporate counsel, our legal counsel has drafted this, has recommended that we upgrade our bylaws. Our CAO has recommended that we upgrade our bylaws. And we have a former councillor who I'd like to address as well. And I wish to say a few words about a recent email circulating in the community from Marcus Reuter, a former councillor who resigned in the middle of his tenure. I find it deeply
Point of order.
This is addressing.
It is not on this topic matter. Point of order, please.
It's directly on this.
You're making
There's
another speech.
misinformation. If you'll let me finish, there's misinformation spreading amongst the community. Okay? And I would like that our CAO addresses that in the village update, in a Q&A, however that might roll out. But misinformation from a former councillor who resigned in the middle of his tenure, I find that deeply disappointing. That someone who served this council would choose to circulate information that misrepresents the municipality's legal obligations, which our legal counsel has outlined and our CAO has outlined, and the provincial advisors have recommended that we upgrade these. It's just unfathomable after 3.5 years that this dysfunction continues. Former councillor could have stepped into the office of our CAO and clarified some of these issues. Instead, we're reading misinformation that's being disseminated amongst our residents. Okay? Instead, this is just creating confusion, fear-mongering, fuels division, undermines confidence in the municipal statutory process.
Point of order. This is not on point of order. Point of order. This is not on topic. Please stop.
This is directly related to the residents that have been fed information that is incorrect. Do we want incorrect information spreading amongst the community? I want to hear the community members, but I also don't want misinformation being spread to the community and then getting that fed back to us. I think it's appropriate that our CAO do a Q&A in the village update and address some of this misinformation. I think all residents would want to hear that. After 3.5 years, this dysfunction has cost us in legal fees. I've got a counselor at the end of the table that's created his own website claiming that it's fact and he's going to disseminate information instead of us at a council table here discussing it, distributing it amongst the residents. I would put forward a motion that our CAO addresses these
Point of order,
Q&A.
did you start the clock? Because you've been speaking a lot more than your time allotted.
I've let you speak
Yes, sir.
twice. I've only spoke once.
I never spoke
I've
for more
let
than
you
2
speak
minutes.
twice, and you've spoke lots throughout this meeting, and I haven't cut you off. Okay? Now, we've got 2 motions on the table, but I would be in favor of instructing our staff to address these questions that the community has on the village update so that all community has the accurate information. Does any council object to that?
I would like you to call the motions on the table, please, before we go forward with any more. We have 2 motions on the table. Please call the question.
Okay,
You can only call a question on the one that's live right now, which is the last one.
can we put forward another motion?
After this one, yes.
Okay, I'll call a question on Councillor McLaughlin's.
Could you clarify
Please state the
exactly what
question.
his motion is, please?
I'll repeat if that's fine.
Corporate
Thank you.
officer.
I made, the zoning bylaw amendment, which is 5/20/2017. Amendment be paused at this time to be brought back after delivery of the OCP.
Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes,
Councillor Cunliffe, okay, opposed?
yes,
Okay, please record the vote. Okay, do we go back to the original, the original motion?
That is the motion. There is no original.
There is no, that supersedes it, okay.
Can I ask a question?
Motion
Council?
carried.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
So the question I would have of council is this. The staff is in a very difficult position. We have explained, I have explained to you, the council has explained to you, and your provincial advisor has explained to you that your bylaws are problematic, and in some cases like this, create significant legal liability. Currently, we're sitting on a number of litigations, so it's not like this is rare in Lions Bay. As part of your strategic priorities, you'd instructed staff to bring forward these recommendations. My confusion is that I'm spending a lot of time doing this and money using lawyers. But it seems that the logjam is council. So if, what I would like direction on is this, if council does not want me to bring this forward, these bylaw amendments forward, like your indemnification bylaw is 40 years old. If you don't want me to do that, I need to know, because I spend a lot of time and money bringing these forward to have them shot down, and I'd rather use my time more effectively if council's not gonna proceed with these bylaw amendments. These are not random bylaw amendments, they're targeted and strategic, dealing with serious issues.
Okay, prior to answering that, I'd like to put the motion on the floor that, that the CAO answers questions that have been put out to the community or from the community, or misinformation that's been disseminated within the community. I'd like the CAO to answer those in the village update. I'll put forward that motion.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
I'll discuss.
Yeah, Councillor Abbott?
I don't think of the CEO as place. There's many pieces of misinformation in the village. On one particular village website that likes to quote Reddit, which continuously anonymously attacks certain members of council.
Okay, we're
And-
talking
and-
about the village,
sorry.
point of order, we're
Yeah.
talking about the village update. Okay, the motion on the table is that the CAO will address misinformation that has been disseminated from a former councillor
Can I
and
continue?
others.
You didn't say that. CL would address misinformation. So first of all, in his opinion,
Misinformation in regards to this particular motion on the table, this particular bylaw.
if the CEO's job is to correct misinformation in social media and other places, then he needs to do it everywhere. And I don't think that's his job. I don't think he can do it.
You're broadening the, that's not the motion on the table. Okay, Councillor Broughton?
No, we're not talking about addressing all the information on social media and everywhere else. We're talking about information that has been provided in a letter to council, which is inaccurate. And needs to be addressed. There's a number of significant false statements on this letter for that matter. And including the fact that somehow this bylaw will allow the fact that a subdivision applicant must demonstrate geotechnical suitability, viable building envelope, environmental compliance, adequate road access, compliance with servicing requirements, water supply capacity, sewage disposal capacity, utility servicing requirements, registration of restrictive covenants where required, and compliance with all other municipal and provincial requirements. So subdivisions and construction will not occur unless these items are addressed. And to say that this correction and making legal of this bylaw and enforceable, that making this bylaw enforceable somehow precludes this is absurd.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, I have the floor. I have the floor at the moment.
you did just speak while I
Okay,
was talking.
Councillor Abbott, let him finish and then we'll come back to you.
You did start speaking while I was talking.
Okay,
Carry
let him
on.
finish.
I apologize, I didn't realize I did that. Okay,
No, sir.
but shall I continue, is that fine?
Finish your point.
Okay, good. Okay, so there's this is a situation where accurate information is very important. And it's can take responsibility for that information, that there is an opportunity for information to be corrected. And I don't justify any site that has no means of addressing false information or distorted information. I mean, one of the letter contains a list of comments. And one of them is, this has the stink of conflict of interest all over it. Why is a deep state friend of Barrie and Broughton getting the special favor at residents' expense? What have these two members of council got on the CAO that he continually does their bidding? I mean, that's beyond insulting. It's bizarre. And another resident, quoted the website, the registered off-site, out of the country website of something similar. So, and another person on this list. So I'm just very concerned. And I think, I'm a believer that truth should prevail.
Okay.
And I'm looking for vehicles to get the truth to people.
Councillor Abbott?
I'm going to try and move this along, but I just need to make two quick points. First of all, Councillor Brown, I was just looking at the letter, and that earlier stuff you were talking about, that's not in the letter at all. The letter is very short and succinct as to what it says.
I'm sorry.
The comments that some other people.
Point of information. This is the letter that you forwarded to council.
What? Yes.
This is a copy of the letter that you forwarded to council. I'm reading from the letter. It's point of information. It's a point of information. It's a point of information.
Did you listen to what I said? I said it's not in the letter. The letter is clear and succinct. The comments attributed to other members, and you cut me off. I'm saying exactly that. The comments attributed to people.
Councillor Abbott,
we all
continue on.
I'm continuing. We all get to listen to residents' comments and choose the ones we believe or the ones we want to act on. Right? We cannot start now analyzing residents' comments in response to something and feeling the need the CAO needs to go back and correct them. That's our job as council. Take it all in, decide which parts you agree with, decide which parts you think are accurate, move on, call the question, let's vote, what's on the table.
All right, I'll just have one final comment. A former councillor isn't operating at the same standards as our residents. Okay, a former counselor has sworn an oath, and that continues on. Okay, so when someone's sending out an email to countless residents that has misinformation, it needs to be addressed. And I think all residents would like to hear accurate information, okay, as I would. So the motion on the table is that our CAO addresses in a Q&A on the village update any questions that he feels are inaccurate. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Councillor Cunliffe?
Opposed.
Okay, so please mark that down. 3 councillors opposed. It's updating the residents. Okay. Next item. It's a 7.2, the indemnification bylaw.
I have a question.
Mhm.
I'm just unclear whether some members of council believe that Lions Bay is above the law. Is that a reasonable question, being that, there's now multiple cases where the law.
Point of order.
Has been pointed out.
Yeah.
Point of order,
Councillor Abbott.
is this on the agenda? Can we move on?
It's
All right,
precipitated by these.
we'll move on. 7.2, the motion is that the indemnification bylaw 666, 2026 be granted first, second, and third reading. Do we have a motion for that?
So
Moved
moved.
by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded.
Second.
Councillor Broughton. Okay, discussion, please raise your hand. Okay, Councillor Abbott.
I'll go, seeing that some of my questions what caused us to come back one more time. I thank the CEO for the clarification from our lawyers about why my suggestion on what's now called item 3.2 cannot be amended. I completely accept that, accept the legal opinion, no issue with that. Item 3.3, sorry, I've got the old numbers in the numbers. 3.3 was given to us as an option in the last meeting. When we voted on this, I said, and this is one of the issues where we don't verbatim state what the motion was. I had said that we all agreed that what was then item 3.4B, because they were both called 3.4. We all agreed that was going to be removed. The option, the CAO can deal with this unilaterally up until a certain value, and that these matters should come to council. I said that part we all agreed to, and the second part was referring back to council, only the first 3.4. I went and listened to the recording. Councillor Cunliffe then says when the vote's getting called, we're calling it according to what Councillor Abbott just said. Everyone seemed to agree. In my mind, we'd already agreed that these matters all came back to council. So I'm going to move that we, again, because although I think we've already done that, if I need to, I will move that we strike that item.
3.3.
Yes, the optional one.
Mr. Blackwell.
Council want me to tell you why 3.3 is in there?
Yes, please.
Yes, 3.3 is a standard provision in these indemnification bylaws and in other bylaws to delegate a certain degree of authority for reasons of efficiency and effectiveness. So in other words, only the more significant issues would come forward to council, but beneath a certain threshold, it's delegated. This is very common in municipalities to delegate authority around certain types of development permits and so on and so forth. This is another such provision to improve effectiveness and efficiency of the small items. The reality is, in 3 years, I haven't seen one yet, so it's not very frequent. So that's the reason why it's in there.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you very much. You've actually answered my question, but allowing that, if you were to settle something quickly without going through rigmarole, I'm kind of in favor of that too. If we were to give you this tool, did you have I can't recall if you put a number in there before or not. I have a number in mind. We can do the Vulcan mind game if you want.
Or tap your finger.
I'm going 20. I mean, that's a frivolous claim and if you can avert legal fees, I'm in favor of that.
Mhm.
Mr. Blackwell, any comments, feedback?
Only that, you know, as you point out, the need to enact that provision is gonna be extremely rare. And council will be involved in these things anyway. It just, this is just simply a tool to increase effectiveness and efficiency.
If I may continue, Mayor, so then you'd be
Yeah,
just as
and
happy,
we'll vote after vote.
you'd be just as happy if it was struck.
Thank you through you. If you're wanting to sort of move towards best practice, that would be best practice to keep it in there with a set amount to say, take care of the couch change issues. We'll continue to take care of the bigger ones.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor Broughton.
In your experience, what would a typical number be in other municipalities?
Through you, Councillor Brown, that's tricky. It's like asking me how long a piece of string is. It's hard to tell you. This is for sort of the frivolous issues. And again, they're extremely rare.
Right, exactly. Well, but I'm very uncomfortable with a clause that has a blank line in it.
Yeah, this is for council invitation for council to.
Does
discuss the number.
20,000, the number put forward by Councilor McLaughlin, does that give you the leeway to negotiate without having to come to council for every decision? Is that in your view enough?
Yes, you know, the bottom line is you can test drive that. If it's vastly too much, you can reduce it. If it's insufficient, you can have a discussion about changing it. Chances are it'll never be enacted, but you never know.
What's the number?
Councillor
What's the number?
Councillor Abbott, sorry,
What's the number?
20,000. Councillor Abbott.
I think indemnification is never going to be a frivolous matter. Regardless of whether we think we can get it done for less than 20,000, the problem is, as we all know, you start down some path and some legal thing, you get to 20,000 and you just keep going. And we can all just look at our legal budgets and how that happens. So there is no way to stop it at 20,000. I think indemnification will always be important enough for council to speak about it. So I'd like to formalize my recommendation that item 3.3 be struck. That's my motion. I'm asking for a second.
We have a second. Okay, no second, so back to the original motion. Councilor McLaughlin, you're suggesting 20,000?
20,000,
Okay.
if I can have a second.
Okay, second by Councilor Broughton, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried.
And
Okay,
could I just make a comment? It looks like the video feed from Chambers has been lost. Can hear everything but can't see anything. Oh, thank you. Looks like something's booting up.
Okay, back to the original motion.
Online. Thank you.
Which is third reading be granted. That the bylaw 666 2026 be granted first, second, and third reading. Call the question. All in favor?
Can we speak to that
With the
first?
amendment? With the amendments.
Can we speak to that first?
Go ahead. I think we addressed it, but go ahead.
On a different point, I like to say that I disagree with these first, second, and third readings. I think we should go through the process of calling the readings and give people time. I've said this before, gives people time to go home, think about what they just said, and come back and get it right. So I'd like to see us do, it's been to council twice, so maybe it's the first and second reading. But I don't really even need to make it all done in one night.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Yes.
Of third reading.
Yeah.
So moved.
Opposed?
First,
Motion carried.
second, and third.
Yeah, that's correct.
First, second, and third.
Okay, next item is the action log.
Who was opposed?
Excuse me. Were you opposed, Councillor Abbott?
I abstained a little bit.
Okay, that's in favor. Okay, the action items log, 7.3, page 97. Any items, council wishes to pull up?
Mayor,
Councilor McLaughlin.
I think, first item up, 361, that's complete, that can go. And, I think in my heart of hearts, 368, the parking plan, I think we're done for this year.
Sorry, if I may.
If I would put that forward.
To Councilor McLaughlin through the mayor, they are listed as complete, so I always leave them on for
Oh.
one cycle, showing that they're complete and.
Thank you.
And, I understand we've been talking about several of these for quite some time, but they are actually complete now, so the next agenda.
So they be paid for us anyhow, thank
So
you.
you can see
That's
that
great.
they've been.
Thank you.
You, Mayor to Councilor Abbott, metal recycling is on there. It's number 383.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Okay, any other items council wish to pull out?
Yeah, I have one, sorry, I'm pleased to see that the noise monitoring is scheduled to happen next week. It's great to see these updates. Item 379. Staff review the community wildfire protection plan for 2021, and it says fire chief and it says complete. So is that review coming back to council, or I'm not sure what complete was? Maybe fire chief's gone.
No, he's gone.
In emergency. Do we understand what that means?
It was complete.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, the fire department's been handing out the wildfire protection pamphlets, yeah.
So thank you. So, I can't tell you that that's accurate. Because if I told that to Ms. Kenna, I don't remember. So, but what I can tell
It
council.
changes to ongoing then.
Who knows, I don't know what it is. In all seriousness, I can tell you that the fire chief is on this issue. We vet on it again today, and he's working with regard to with the work of Frontera. And sort of the Fire Smart program. So he's sort of dipping his toe into, well, more than that, he's jumping into the deep end of the pool with this stuff. So as he is getting more familiarized and has sort of moved the needle on this, I would expect that he'll be coming back to council to update council and by extension, the community. And by the way, I've asked fire chief to provide the community with just a frequent, ideally weekly VU update as to what's going on with fire rescue.
Right, Councilor Brown?
Yeah, I think everything that he's provided so far has been very well received, very much appreciated, and, you know.
Good. Any other items?
No, not from me. I just on the last item, sorry, this on item 383. So it says added to new recycling collection contract. That's fine. The current contract already allows for it. And they already do. This isn't really happening. So the request really was to get out some publication telling residents officially that this is accepted. Small metals are accepted at CRD, and then there was a requirement to get a little sticker and put it on the existing signage down there that adds metals to it.
So just have to.
Yeah.
That's all that's.
If I may, through the chair, I did discuss that exact request with Director of Operations on that, and perhaps there's possibility that he maybe mixed up when I was reviewing that with the paint and recycling. Is it possible that that answer makes no sense for, because I didn't review.
That answer would make sense for the pink bins, because that was what I was asking.
My suggestion
But I
is
can
that
review with them.
Councilor Abbott just reach out to the Director of Operations, see clarity. It's the simplest.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to 8.1.1, second quarter bylaw enforcement report. Officer Fournier, would you like to come forward and provide us with your report? Answer any questions? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Overall, the second quarter was productive for our bylaw department. We continued efforts focused on parking management, enforcing and improving operational efficiency. During the quarter, parking enforcement issued a total of 494 parking violations and 23 courtesy notices. We also processed 155 parking disputes, with many being resolved through the screening officer process. Of those, 45 screening officer fees were applied. These fees are administered fees charged when dispute results from user errors, such as entering an incorrect license plate. Parking ban also remained strong throughout the village, with nearly 9,000 paid parking sessions recorded across our trailheads and beach parking areas during the quarter. Outside of parking enforcement, bylaw services responded to 84 calls for service, while graffiti made one of our higher call categories. Our other calls included proactive initiatives such as beach patrols, unsightly property investigations, and deceased animal-related concerns, demonstrating that staff continue to spread a significant amount of time on the community focus and preventative work. This quarter also saw several operational improvements, including implementation of Mitchell's Towing as the village official towing contractor, new equipment to improve officer safety and graffiti removal, and continued progress towards our wireless parking payment system. Once complete, this new system will significantly reduce operating costs while providing more convenient experience for visitors. Looking ahead to Q3, our primary focus will be completing the village-wide wireless parking system and conducting a Bear Smart audit to further reduce human-wildlife conflicts and support community safety. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, councilors? Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you very much. Thank you, final officer. I'm picking out the garbage for recycling, which is very generous at only 6. So I'm going to presume that either somebody came by and observed somebody's garbage was out early. I don't know that, but I'm guessing that. Or right day, wrong hour, who knows what. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, so typically with the wildlife attractant issues, that's anywhere from us observing something to a complaint coming in.
So 6 for a quarter is a pretty good number.
It is very good, and this is kind of when bears are waking up too. So we were quite pleased with that.
That's quite important information to know. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Broughton?
In terms of a comment that was made earlier in terms of unsightly premises, I think there's kind of there's sometimes some confusion between if a home is under construction. Does bylaw get involved in the actual unsightliness of construction, or how the construction is being conducted, or whether the materials are left out or anything like that? Or is that more a building inspector role?
It's more, in that case, we do have the authority to come in and deal with the unsightly aspect of things.
Okay.
Under the definitions of unsightly, it can include building materials. It would typically be something that I'd work with the building inspector on, depending. Right. So if it's more related to like the zoning aspect or the building itself, it'd probably be more the building inspector. Definitely, but if it's more related to the unsightly and discarded materials, then I would get involved 100%.
Okay.
Okay, Councilor McLaughlin?
Thank you very much, Mayor Barrett. Bylaw officer Fournier. I saw something from the financial officer about the number of visitors that we have in a month. And I'm always a little bit confused as to which little gun we're getting the visitor number from, whether it's somewhere on a road that I don't know, whether the little smiley face is actually clocking me, I don't know. Is it a meter at the trailhead partway up or halfway down, who knows what? To the best of your knowledge, how many visitors are we getting a month from whatever tracking device we're using? And could you tell us about that?
So the way I got the data for the roughly 9,000 is through our pay by phone app that we use.
Those are wheels on the ground.
Those are wheels on the ground. So that does not confirm if there was one person in the vehicle, if it was a minivan with 10 people. It could be a large range from that. I do know that I've just been given access to our trail camera at the Sunset Trailhead. that does scan, but like I said, I didn't think it was relevant to my specific part of my report.
Okay, Councillor Abbott and then Councillor Broughton.
I don't think it's a camera, right? It's a tracker. It's a sensor.
Tracker, correct.
Okay, yeah, good. We don't want to be taking pictures of
My
my
apologies, yes.
And yes, that's how it's answered. There's trail counters that count people go up and go past a certain point, so you know who's going to tumble us and who's just doing the loop around back to the tennis court and treaties. So where the numbers come from. I got a couple of questions. Was surprised at how few, by comparison, how few cars there are on Bayview Road compared to Tunnel Bluffs and Mountain Drive. So Tunnel Bluffs, is that only the formal parking lot?
That is the 18 parking stalls.
That's all
that we
it
have.
is?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting stats. My other question was this idea of going to pay by phone around the entire village and taking. I understand the financial and commercial reason to do it, and I think it catches 99% of people. But I would speculate there might still be the odd hiker that doesn't have a smartphone. So what do they do?
So in the case on the pay by phone, on the signs that you can see throughout the village in the specific areas, there is a phone number that you can call. From there, you can pay by credit card. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a phone that's a credit card that's attached to your phone necessarily. If the phone is a bit outdated, you can call the number, hit the prompts accordingly, give your credit card over the phone and accept payment.
Okay, I never picked up on that. I wonder if people do it. Okay.
As far as I know, through what I've seen through our disputes, there has been a handful of people
Who've done that?
that have done that, and there's been a little bit of complication, but for the most part, anyone who has done it has been successful.
Okay, I just wouldn't like to exclude anyone from going for a walk just because they don't have a smartphone.
Of course.
Okay, Councillor Broughton. No, that's fine. Good. Okay, thank you very much. Very informative. Thanks a lot. Okay, next item is 8.1.2. Motion is the council approve the 2025 statements of financial information for submission to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. The motion for that, moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Broughton. Discussion. Mr. Cherkoff, join us and answer any questions, please.
It's in standard format, no changes from any previous year that has never occurred. And so if there are any questions, I'm happy to field them.
Okay, please raise your hand if you have any questions. Councillor Abbott.
Are we going to continue to, you are doing quarterly reports now to us?
Yeah, so I had the Q3 numbers last time, and then we're closing out June right now, so you'll have Q2 numbers at our next meeting.
Good.
Okay, maybe I could reserve my questions to then, but I'll give you the heads up. I'm going to speculate that some of the items have gone past our budget already. In which case we should be coming back to council for digital budget requests. Based on what I've seen in the Sophie reports in your previous report. So is that the intention with the next presentation, in which case I don't need to belabor the subject here.
That is not the intention for the next meeting. I will field any sort of request you have regarding information on the Sophie. With regards to the budget, you are of course free to, as council, to amend the budget whenever you like. We just need to make sure it's documented and performed in a manner that's not so ad hoc. Like we should have an actual activity level meeting to discuss and evaluate and then resolve a recommendation to council to do the budget amendment.
Sorry, I would have thought the process is staff tell us we're about to go over budget and then we approve additional budget.
Which
is not what happened in the previous year.
Thank you. So I am unaware of whether this is a thing or not. So rather than discuss semantics, my suggestion is that Joe and I confirm your questions and make sure we know what the answers are. And if we do need to bring something back, we'll send out an email out to council just to let you know that this is in the works. and then it will appear on the agenda.
So to my point here, this report demonstrates that last year, even though we probably knew it already, that last year we exceeded our budgets in certain categories. We never approved additional budget. So I think there's a process that needs to be corrected there. And that's what I'd like council to come back with. Step to come back with council.
Right, yeah, fair enough.
Okay, any other comments? No, Councillor
Just
Brown,
briefly,
call the question.
yeah, just a question. A number of these items are just called construction. And they seem to be in construction of all different sorts, and I'm just not clear. Some of them are, but obviously Botany Creek, there's an implication there that perhaps the provincial government, picked that cost up, that type of thing. But in terms of construction, is it possible for that to be broken down more? Or is that appropriate here, or is that a question more for the quarterly?
For the
Discussion.
quarterly, yes, I can tell you that the items that are highlighted as construction generally relate to Lansdowne East Park.
Right.
To the all zone watering meter project.
Right, okay,
Like all these things that we're actively doing, Cup 3.
right,
So that's why I labeled them as constructions, giving you a sense of what that is. And then where the things were related to specifically to Botany, I isolated that.
yeah, that's great. Okay, no, that's fine. We'll pick them up in the quarterlies. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the
Good.
question.
All in favor?
Councillor
Yeah.
Brown,
No, I'm sorry.
I'll
Time
take
to vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, we'll move to Climate Action Committee. We've got the May 26th, 2026 information and the June 23rd, 2026 for information. Any comments, Councillor Abbott, like that before we?
Yeah,
accept that?
so one of them are approved minutes, been approved. The second one is draft minutes, and I asked different officers to include those. This goes back a little bit to the earlier conversation about committees in general and specifically this committee. So this committee's terms of reference say that they are dissolved, or whatever the term was used, on the 15th of October. As you've seen from the earlier reports, there's various RFPs going out with grant applications, one of them without. So there's going to be a significant amount of loose ends. This committee needs to tidy up with the help from the Director of Operations, and it's summer. And we have a committee of people that do have social lives and like to go on holidays and diving and traveling and such. So we're not going to be able to have a meeting over the summer. So the committee has decided that we're going to have a meeting in September. It's in September, 2 meetings in September. Sorry, what page is that? I'll give you the exact dates of the meetings.
Mr. Blackwell, do we need to approve these minutes?
No, we're not. I'm getting to a point. So we're planning to have 2 meetings in September the 9th and October the 7th in order to make sure that all of these various national asset inventory, risk assessment, climate adaptation plan, electrification study, all of these things are taken to a point when they can be handed over to someone else. Okay. So my request is that I can work with the CEO and the Director of Operations to move these things along so that we can actually move these things in those 2 meetings in September before this committee is dissolved according to its terms of reference.
Mr. Blackwell.
Yeah, we're here to help. It's a few red flags that pop up when you're describing this, maybe that I'm not understanding. And just to put it on the table for you, the committee should not be doing work. It should be making recommendations to council. That's all. That's all its job is. And if council decides to direct staff to do whatever, that's good. But committees should not be doing work. But so I'm assuming I misunderstood that. And was supporting you through conversations. Yeah, by all means, we're here to assist.
So as you're aware, in the past, these committees have done draft RFPs, applied for grants and draft. You sign the grant application, you sign the acceptance, staff does the final work. Committee have been supporting the new director of operation, came to the first meeting, openly admitted he wasn't aware of these grants, these processes need to be brought up to speed, so we've done that. They've all had resolutions of council, they've all been handed over to staff. But there will be questions that A, the committee will need, so they can close out their actions, and B, I'm sure will be questions from staff as to, you know, what is meant by this part of this application and so on. That's all I'm asking, to keep working with the resolutions that have already been passed by council that are now going to be in limbo because we don't do them now through the summer. This council is going to be gone, and we will hate to, you know, not comply with the grant or something to that effect.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, once grants are submitted, that's the purview of staff, as you know. And we will ensure that all of the requirements are complied with regardless of anybody else's involvement. That sits squarely in operation of Railhouse. So I mean, if you're talking about a duplicate level of oversight, that's, you know, no problem, I suppose. But I guess I'm trying to assuage your concerns with regard to the potential for these applications being sort of dropped or.
So had we continued to have meetings, as has happened in the past, the director of operations comes to the meetings, gives us an update, maybe he's got a question, we got a question for him, that's the process. If there's something new, council comes with his recommendation, it's what we've always done. In this case, we don't have any more meetings, and then we're gonna have 1 month and they're gone. So I just wanted to know, maybe there's a little bit of latitude, because I can't call meetings, people, I won't have calls. That's all, I'm just trying to make sure staff get supported, that's all.
We're here to assist where we can.
Right.
Okay, good. We'll move on. The mayor and council Ferris Farm report 8.3.1. Councillor Abbott, any reports?
Nothing to report.
I know there's been an email notifying the village of a bear breaking into a home. Any further update on that?
No, I've received nothing further from the CO. If we hear anything that's noteworthy, council will be sure to be advised, as council was this morning.
Okay.
And thank you to the chair, just a really quick housekeeping note on committee minutes, as sort of jumping off on what Councillor Abbott just said, just so you understand, I normally only put approved minutes on, and some committees meet very infrequently. For example, we have the emergency program committee meeting minutes for information. They're from October. I finally received them. So in case it appears disjointed, it's typically only approved meeting minutes, and it takes a while to receive them unless there's a time sensitive issue, in which case, like you see today, we have the draft minutes from the climate action committee. So I thought it was just a good time to mention that.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much for that. Okay, nothing else to add. We'll move to correspondence. Jamie, I believe that's you.
Yep. I would take all the correspondence for this meeting as received, unless there's any particular counselor that would like to pull something out to discuss.
Okay, any councillors wish to pull something out?
I'd like to put out a comment on the District of Oak Bay LG cap. I'm trying to remember, I think we got someone else who also sent us something. I think it might have been somewhere nearby, Saanich or somewhere.
Sorry, what page is that?
Sure. District of Oak Bay, yeah.
Yeah, District of Oak Bay, number third from the bottom.
Not sure.
General correspondence is on page 148.
So it's supporting LG Cap.
That's if you're using the HTML more.
Okay. So just so
Depending
you
on which
want to
version
understand, so LG cap program ends next year. The LG cap there used to be a similar program called the Carrot Report. And several municipalities are asking that we support motions. I'm assuming this will come up in the UVCM to get the province to actually continue with a program like LGCAP or CARIP. In our case, in Lions Bay, this money has done things like remove the oil furnace that this office used to operate on, putting heat pumps. This money's been very valuable to us. We wouldn't have been able to do climate adaptation studies, all the stuff we've done. So it's been a very welcomed and very necessary funding stream. So I hope as a council, in whatever way we can get behind these other municipalities that are calling on the province to do this. I'm sure there'll be an opportunity at the UBCM.
Yeah.
And maybe we can consider for the next meeting through staff drafting something that says similar to what these other municipalities have done, bring it to council. And you nod of a head there. Okay, and now you need to put a motion forward.
Actually, we'll just add it to the action list.
You need a motion?
No.
Okay,
May I just respond?
Mhm.
Thank you. A second. Oh, another opportunity might be council reaching out and having this discussion with the MLA, Jeremy Valeriot, to see if he's also able to bookend sort of the messaging municipalities and
I'd be pleased and happy to do that if council's good for that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Perry. CEO Blackwell, you've told me the answer, but I forget it. There are some pieces of correspondence that come from the resident side of the queries that I'm sure for all of us, we see so many correspondence that I sometimes get confused, but they appear not to appear in here. And it may be that for whatever reason, I presume something abusive, it's obvious not to be there. But for some reason, some of the items are not here. I think I'm correct, if that's correct. Could you tell me how that occurs?
Yeah.
prior to deferring to you, who Ms. Kennedy actually deals with this, just as a little administrative footnote. What council could do to shift how it manages correspondence to sort of be more in line with standard practice is only those items of correspondence that are for public awareness or need a decision of council could be on the agenda. All other correspondence to council should be addressed by either the mayor or if council, which this council has done, appoint a councilor just to respond to this, to other correspondence. That's how it should work. But what I have observed is all correspondence or most correspondence makes it on here and it shouldn't.
Good. It's good enough for me.
Not because it's not important and so forth.
No, I don't think that's the issue. It's just the absences and the phone call that a council might get, that's all. Yeah.
If I may, to Councilor McLaughlin, to the chair, off the top of my head, I don't recall any resident correspondence for this particular agenda. So it's possible that something was sent to council and that was never sent on to me, which is probably
Yes,
most likely
okay.
the case. In the case where I received specifically resident correspondence that is not eligible for the agenda, so a neighbor against neighbor complaint, for example, or an operational question, I would respond directly to that individual and let them know what the situation is. But otherwise, it would appear if it's topical.
Thank you.
Councilor Broughton?
Just the Rail Safety Week, we have in the past put a little note in the village update regarding that. And because we are rail centric, or we have railway running through our community, I think it would be a really good idea. We haven't had incidents that I'm aware of on the railroad tracks, but hopefully that will never happen. So rail, if we could just maybe perhaps just include that, and you could just look up last year's. It's just a very simple little note. Also just make a note, just to note that the Fraser River Tunnel Project, interesting, the letter from the city of Delta, but it seems to me that's probably going to be dealt with now by the federal involvement there, so.
Okay, any other items?
if I may,
Mhm.
through the chair, to CAO Blackwell, do we need a resolution?
Yes.
With proclamation for real estate?
Yeah, I was just pulling that up. Yeah, so with regard to that, if you want to, do as what's been done in the past, which is, provide a formal declaration, then you need a motion to council. They've provided in the attachment.
Okay. We have a motion. Moved by
That we do
Councilor
that.
Bartlett, second,
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin, all in favor?
So
Yes.
we're also,
Okay, any other items?
sorry, I didn't realize we're doing that, there's this National Banning Prevention Week has a proclamation in it as well. Do we want to do, are we gonna do all of these, or are we're gonna just pick that one because it rails us so?
They're all important.
They're going to be published in the village update.
The Rail Safety Week will be, and I don't know that there's a policy around proclamations. Many municipalities have a policy around proclamations because it can become very difficult to say who's in and who's out of the proclamation. And then there's the whole, that zone that is gray, should we, shouldn't we? So if council would like, I can run the action log, pulling together a
Put it on the action line.
policy to deal with proclamation.
Very deep in the action.
Some, by the way, some municipalities don't do many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be endless.
Okay, any other items before we move on? No? Okay, we'll move to public questions. Anyone in the gallery? Okay. And online, Crystal?
Mayor Leger, I'm not sure if that's a new hand or an old hand.
No,
Tamara,
it's new.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So my question is regarding removing the gate blocking the Sound View logging road as our only evacuation route as designated in the emergency plan that the Village of Lions Bay has formally classified as our main evacuation route, our secondary evacuation route if the main exit, if Bayview is not possible. So it's a publicly designated unpaved logging road that is absolutely critical for us to escape by either foot or vehicle should we have an interface fire or some sort of fire that blocks our main passage. And yet the Sound View Road remains padlocked. So this is actually an operational negligence because you need to provide thoroughfare in case of an emergency. It's like blocking an emergency exit. Now, I do understand that down below, the Ministry of Transportation owns the gate that blocks the gravel pit, which is the same issue, but distinct from the village. The village has no control. So I'm bringing this to council. I really do think that council needs to put forward a motion to make sure, like as a primary directive within 14 days to direct that all evacuation routes be unencumbered and safe for evacuation if need be. We're heading into summer. It is tinder dry up here, even though we've had some great overcast weather, but it's still very dry and our water remains really low. So I think most of you know the risk. This is not sort of off in the distance. This is really, really important. I know I've been asking for this across multiple councils, but those hard padlocks need to come down. Having a box cutter in your trunk is not an appropriate response from an operational perspective. And I really would like to flag this to council as an operational issue that absolutely critically needs to be addressed immediately on the side of the municipality, like on municipal land. So right where Soundview is, I know Neville, you're up on the other side, you're probably pretty close to it, but you shouldn't need a key to access it. Anyone coming up to that road needing to evacuate should be able to evacuate without hesitation. It is not appropriate to provide a response that we will wait for someone to turn up with a key to open that gate. That gate needs to have some sort of mechanism or a lockbox, like a coded lockbox on it. So
All right, Tamara.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let you know that you're up against the clock here. Thank
Okay.
you very much. I think we get the message, and I'm sure staff will look into that. Okay.
Special
Councillor Abbott.
comment, this comes from some of the meetings held lately, with Mary, around the evacuation plan, and another one that was focused on that part of the village. There was one suggestion put forward from a resident that if you had a smart lock that had a code, and if there was the circumstance which Tamara's describing, which is possibly going to be rare or infrequent, when the alert went out, you could send people the code. And it's only going to the people in the meeting area, and then the issue's over, you could then recode it or put a new password on, and you could do the same thing down at the bottom of the gravel pit going onto the highway. I thought that was a good suggestion, but I think this is something that needs to come to the EPC and get resolved as part of that evacuation plan. That's the basis of this at
Okay.
this point.
Good idea. Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. I'm with Councillor Abbott. I think this should, I understand the issue. This is an incredibly steep, incredibly rocky, incredibly narrow piece we're talking about. Disasters don't happen at 12 o'clock, they happen at 2 at night, and I wouldn't take my car in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, CEO Blackwell. I imagine
We're already
the
looking at this, yeah, and
Okay.
it's being assessed in terms of liability and so forth. Meaning that once we facilitate access, we have an obligation to maintain it as a safe condition, so we have to, it's in process.
Yeah.
And if we can remove it or come up with some other option, that's gonna be part of the discussion.
All right, great.
I have a follow. I actually have a follow up to that. Is absolutely your
Okay, if you
response.
make it brief, Tamara,
Yeah,
we're up against.
absolutely, I will.
Thank you.
It's absolutely your responsibility to take action so that people can evacuate. The village of Lions Bay has already identified this road in a document filed with the government. You have approximately 14 days to do this, and I'm going to proceed with the province and get a fire inspection from the province because I am deeply worried about this. This is a time is of the essence issue, and now that you've all acknowledged that it is a serious issue, it needs to be prioritized within the work plan of operations.
Okay, Tamara, thank you very much. Next. No one else? Okay, with that, motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Broughton. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much for everyone's participation and to the residents.
Good evening.